time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go. Ooh. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Ring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore, no. I'm gonna shout it loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. What this life is about, yeah. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Ring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Now I'm awake. Good morning. I'm Connie Martin, and I'm a licensed practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Colorado Springs, and with Reverend Sally off to Canada. Woo! Celebrating stuff for CSL there to, what would she be doing there for us? It's a conference. No, I'm trying, she's letting everybody know who we are. That's what she's doing. Why is she networking? No, okay. Anybody else want to help me? No. She's there to connect with all the other communities as a representative for CSLCS Colorado Springs. I got it. Took me a while. That's okay. I was following Bobby's lead. Anyway, we are a welcoming community. We welcome all people, all lifestyles, and all paths. So no matter where you are on your path, just know you're in the right place today. Do we have anybody here for the first time? Would you be brave enough to raise your hand? Yes. The ushers have a flower for you as a welcome. Hospitality, thank you for being here. And I know you'll enjoy it. Our music is obviously great. We have a wonderful guest speaker today. And all of you are beautiful. Do you see how many people have on the same color Reverend James has on? I see Stephanie, and I see, I said, whoa, he brought all this wonderful blue energy in. So we have the new thing that we're doing with our children, which is very exciting. So I'm going to invite parents or grandparents to come up with your children. And Bettina is the teacher today, so she's going to come up and tell us what it's all about. This is just very exciting. This is my first week getting to have them up here with me, so.
I'm on. Good morning, my beautiful spiritual community. My name is Bettina. I am the lead teacher for our Sunday celebration with the children. Santina is my co-pilot today. Playing with today's talk title, Love's Ascent, we will be discovering ways our lives expand love to new heights. We will be creating a hot air balloon project as well. Please be sure to take these home, as they are great things to use to help them share how the time spent with us went. We hope that the message you take from this service will be further enriched as you help to keep the fun going with your kids throughout the week. We are going to be in room 110 or outside, time permitted. The beepers are new, so please help us remember to collect them at the end. And thank you all.
Oh, and now we have a beautiful blessing for our children. Please affirm with me. We bless all the children in our community and the world. We love all the children. We know the truth of who they are. All children are unique expressions of God, and we are grateful to have our children in our lives. And so it is. Thank you, families. Thank you, Bettina. How exciting. All this wonderful energy that shows up on platform at times like this. So now I invite you all to stand and greet one another and continue to spread that love and that energy throughout the sanctuary.
Send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me.
Joy.
I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me.
Yeah, I send peace
over the mountains. I send peace over the sea. I send peace into the heavens, and it
The words of inspiration today begin with a quote from Rumi. "The way to heaven is within. Shake the wings of love. When love's wings have become strong, there is no need to trouble about a ladder." And from John O'Donohue, "You can never love another person unless you are equally involved in the beautiful but difficult spiritual work of learning to love yourself." And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, "The heart is the center of divine love and perfect circulation. Its action is harmonious, vital, adequate, and complete. There is no false action and no wrong action. The pulsations of life are steady, unceasing, and perfect. Love is at the center of man's being, and the calm, continuous pulsations of life are governed by love." Pray with me. I feel a power and a presence right now, an intelligence just circulating through me. I feel it. As I drop down into my heart, I feel Spirit. Spirit is there. Spirit's always been there, will always be there in me. And I know Spirit is loving me unconditionally, regardless of conditions. And I know that Spirit is guiding me and supporting me through my life. And I know that Spirit has given me so many blessings, so many attributes of itself: love, peace, happiness, joy, compassion, excitement, adventure, all given to me by Spirit. And right now I know that these blessings, these gifts are available to each and every person. Not just the people that are listening to my voice right now. Not just the people that are online listening to this service, but each and every human being. I know absolutely the blessings of each and every person. I know that each and every person is blessed. Blessed with love, blessed with peace, blessed with beauty. I know that this service is blessed. I know that the people involved in putting the service together are blessed. Our production team, our ushers, our greeters. I know that our practitioners are blessed as they hold the consciousness of this community. I know that our musicians are blessed as they sing and play with Spirit, through Spirit. And I know that Reverend James is blessed as he speaks the words that we need to hear today. So I bless this community, Center for Spiritual Living, Colorado Springs. And I bless all those that meet for their communities. And with all this, I am thankful and grateful. Grateful for everything that this center has given me. Grateful for all the acquaintances, all the connections, all the friends I have here at this center. I am grateful for all the blessings bestowed on me and all the blessings that each and every person have in their lives. And so with this thanksgiving, I release my words to the law, knowing that the law always says, yes, it is done. And so I let go I let Spirit have it, and we say in one voice, and so it is.
Things are changing around me now. The things I knew are unfamiliar somehow. Nothing is certain, it seems so strange. Nothing is certain except for the change. I've got to rise a little higher, set my soul free. Rise a little higher, now I can see, like a river flowing ever to the greater sea. I can rise a little higher, let the change carry me. Letting go of all of my plans, they slip away like water through my hands. No place to anchor, I'm drifting at sea. Waves of change are rolling over me. I've got to rise a little higher, set my soul free. Rise a little higher, now I can see, like a river flowing ever to a greater sea. I can rise a little higher, let the change carry me. Everything is changing always. Let it move you. Let it lift you higher, higher, to the place you've always dreamed but never knew. Carry me into the unknown, far from the comforts and the cages of home. Without my past, without any shame, a new horizon is calling my name. I've got to rise a little higher, set my soul free. Rise a little higher, and now I can see, like a river flowing ever to a greater sea. I can rise a little higher, let the change carry me. Rise a little higher, set my soul free. Rise a little higher, now I can see, like a river flowing ever to a greater sea. I can rise a little higher and let love carry me.
And now I'm the lucky one. I get to introduce Reverend James Peck. He's an advocate for practicing kindness and living as a presence of unconditional love, as this leads to a powerful, creative, and joy-filled life experience. He's an ordained CSL minister, has served as a senior minister of local communities, and is currently the Director of Information Technology at CSL Home Office in Colorado. Reverend James holds a bachelor degree in Management Information Systems from the University of Phoenix and a master's degree in Consciousness Studies from Holmes Institute, San Diego. He enjoys living among the pines in the foothills of the Rockies with his son and 2 granddogs, along with hiking and golfing. Please help me in welcoming Reverend James Peck.
Morning, morning. Wonderful to be back. The last time I was here was for those that were here, you may recall, it was the Sunday before Reverend Sally started. So that was a powerful Sunday, and hopefully today will be just as powerful, although you never know with me, you know. The fact that you're willing to come back says something. So the talk title is Love's Ascent, and I'm going to get into a lot of love in a bit, but I've got a little trivia question for you first before we start to dive into the talk. Does anybody have an idea what Uber, Netflix, and Science of Mind have in common? No? Well, they're all disruptors. And a disruptor is a person or an organization that basically goes against the common belief or what's going on in the world and turns it on its head and pushes back and presents a new way or a new idea that's very disruptive to the status quo and what's been going on. Now, I personally have a little experience with this. Back when I was in high school, I was in algebra class, and I made a rubber band slingshot, which if you know me well, you know I was the troublemaker. I was the one that tended to push all everybody's buttons. And I was having a little fun with the slingshot, and the instructor came over. She took it away from me, and I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "Well, it's a weapon of math disruption, so we can't have it in class." Now, I am a dad, so I can get away with the dad jokes. But returning, so Uber, Netflix, Science of Mind, disruptors. So Uber, of course, disrupted the industry of how taxi cabs and all of that operated, right? And it totally opened a whole new way of personal transportation. And in fact, Mark Cuban, it was so radical that Mark Cuban, the billionaire, who, he's a Shark Tank and he's invested in many things, owned the Dallas Mavericks for a long time, invested in many companies. He was offered an opportunity to invest early on in Uber. It was one of his friends that was actually starting the organization. And Cuban said, "Let me get this right. Strangers are going to go ahead and drive me around somewhere? No, I don't think so. I don't think people are going to want to get in a car with a stranger just because it has a little sign that says Uber on it." And he was wrong, and he's admitted that was the greatest faux pas in his career as a businessman billionaire. Netflix, interesting story. You may have heard this back in the Blockbuster days. I don't know if you remember Blockbuster. If you have the same color hair as me, you probably do, right? Going in, it was a weekend thing. We're going to pick out a couple movies to rent and bring back the ones from before. And of course, we forgot to rewind them, so we're paying 50 cents per tape. But Blockbuster had this really amazing business going. And then this company called Netflix came along. And they said, "Well, we've identified the issue that people don't like about Blockbuster, and that is having to return the tapes." And so Netflix introduced a tape return service known as the U.S. Postal Service, right? And we could go online, we could say, "I want these movies," they'd mail them to you, you'd get them in a couple days, you'd watch it, and mail it back. And at one point, Netflix, they were struggling financially. They approached Blockbuster about a merger and have Blockbuster buy them out. And Blockbuster basically laughed. CEO made a lot of negative comments and said, "No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks." And of course, the rest is history. Netflix exploded. They found some other funding, exploded. Blockbuster eventually tried to get into doing business the way Netflix was, and they couldn't do it. And Blockbuster eventually filed bankruptcy and went away. And Netflix has actually become a disruptor a second time in the way that movies and television series are produced. And so they're disrupting the standard Hollywood model, and they're actually not really disrupting as much as serving other countries with their localization. They've won a lot of awards in India and Mexico for their locally produced movies and TV shows. But Science of Mind, so Science of Mind as a disruptor. There's really two ways that Science of Mind is a disruptor. One is it disrupts the most common idea about God. Because if you go to any church or synagogue, you're going to learn about a God that's out there, probably male, has a lot of rules that kind of conflict with each other, don't really make a lot of sense sometimes. But if you can figure out a way to follow the rules, you can probably end up eternally in a nice place called heaven. And if not, well, it's going to be really warm for you for a long time. But Science of Mind disrupts that idea. Science of Mind says, no. Heaven is within, spirit is within, and there's only one God, and that innermost God and the highest God is one God. And not only is there just one God and that it's within, but ultimately there's one life. That we are life living itself as each of us. And so it's very disruptive to a lot of the world. Now, granted, there's some teachings, for example, Buddhism talks about oneness, and they have that as one of their tenets. But for the predominant religious belief in the world, God is outside. And we're just hoping that he's going to take care of us. But no, with oneness, it's more than we're just connected to God. We are life expressing as itself. Life experiences itself as each of us. And there is a way to move forward and live in this oneness. Dr. Holmes, in, let me find it here real quick. This is a problem when you're going on and on and on, right? And the pages can't keep up with you automatically. So Dr. Holmes, in this thing called You, page 95, suggests how we navigate life from this perspective of oneness. He wrote, see God in everyone, the same God with a different face, the same animating principle with a different form, the same divine presence clothed in individual expression. And the foundation of oneness, that's really I'd call it the primary principle, although there's many spiritual truths and principles in this teaching, but that's like the foundational piece. And it's from this oneness that Science of Mind has a second way of disrupting life. And that is that Science of Mind tells us, and it disrupts the idea that there's a limited way to living life. Science of Mind tells us, and then we have catchphrases like change your thinking, change your life, treat, move your feet. But what it's really saying is that we aren't limited. For most folks in the world, there's the belief that unless you're born into power or money or maybe privilege or some other avenue, that you're kind of stuck in life. In fact, there's whole cultures built on a caste system. But what Science of Mind, what Dr. Holmes talked about, is that there's a principle, there's a power, there's a presence, there's a law, we can use it. We can change our circumstance, whatever that change may be. Maybe we are looking to change something in the physical realm. There's a different job, new relationships, maybe a different vehicle, decent housing. But we can also use it to experience more love, to step more fully into what it means to be spirit incarnated in form. Now, I love when I used to teach the introductory courses, because I was a minister in California of a center for 8 years. And I love those beginning classes, and I tended to teach foundations, but there's a few different beginning classes, Beyond Limits, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, Spiritual Principles and Practices. But the students would get so excited, and they would just be into the law and into manifesting, and they're like, yeah, we're going to treat, and we're going to do it. And they didn't know any better. We're just creating. And it was so cool and so exciting. And it really, magnifies and shows how science of mind is a disruptor. Because most folks, it's almost like you got to be a closet New Thought person or a closet religious scientist. Yeah, I just got a great new job and a new car. I have no idea how it happened, because everybody that if I was going to tell my family and friends, they'd think you're nuts. What? You're doing this thing called treatment and you're changing your life? But it really does work. And I had a fun experience 23 years ago now with my daughter, who had just turned 16. And she had saved some money and she wanted to get a used car. And I said I was willing to contribute, and she called her mom. And her mom said she'd be willing to contribute a little bit. And so I said, okay, Katie, here's how it's going to work. I said, you make a list of all the qualities and the features, the attributes of what you're looking for in the car. I said, then we're going to do a treatment. And we're not going to sit back. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to follow your intuition, think about what you should do next. I said, but we're going to know at the end of the treatment that car is somewhere available to us. Hopefully in the Phoenix area, which is where we were living at the time. But we're going to know that that car's there. So she did. She made her list. We treated. And after a couple of weeks, she was getting pretty down. She's like, Dad, I'm going through the used car magazines. I'm going through everything. I can't seem to find anything. I said, just hang in there. I said, we know the car is there somewhere. The car is ours. We just haven't found it yet. It needs to find us. We need to find it. About a week later, she came to me and she had the Auto Trader. It's like a newspaper of used cars. And she said, Dad, there's a car here, and it looks like it's the car, except it says it's a hatchback. And she wanted a Toyota Celica 2-door coupe, black, ideally with less than 50,000 miles and less than $5,000, because that's all the money that we had saved and she had saved. And she said, but it says it's a hatchback, but I don't think that year they made a hatchback. Okay, well, we'll call on it. So I called and talked to the folks and said, is the car still available? Yeah, in fact, nobody's called on it. Okay. We can be there in 30 minutes. And so we jump in the car, we drive over, and it's the car. It's exactly what Katie wanted, exactly what she had written on the piece of paper. And we take it for a test drive, and she's shaking. She's shaking, and it had a stick, so she couldn't drive it. Had to teach her how to drive a stick later, but she was just shaking, and she couldn't. Dad, I can't believe it is. I said, this is how it works. This is how life works, if you know how to work life. And so we went back, and long story short, paid for the car, and at the end, we're just about to leave, and I said, by the way, the ad said it was a hatchback, but this is a coupe. And the gentleman, and he had gotten to the point where he couldn't drive anymore, so they were having to sell one of the cars, and they were going to keep their Camry, which is a nicer family car. And he said, yeah, we tried for weeks to get that ad changed, and they just couldn't seem to get it changed. So nobody called on the car because nobody wanted a hatchback. But Katie knew enough to know there was no hatchback. So it's just a fun little example of how this process works, if you will, or how treatment works, or how life really works. There really are no miracles in life. My good friend, co-lead minister up at Mile High, Michelle Madrano, likes to call them normicals. She was my first minister back in the Arizona days, and I always loved that. I said, yeah, they're normicals. They seem to be miracles because you don't understand what's going on, but if you understand what's going on, they're normicals. But why does it work? Right? So stories are nice in the treatment, but why does it work? I mean, it is the science of mind. It's not the theory of mind. It's a science of mind, so there's a science to it. And if we come at it from that left brain place and look at it, it's like, well, why does it work? Well, if there's one life, again, we're grounded in the oneness, right? One life. So whatever happens at the universal or the macro, I like the macro term, but the universal, I hesitate to use the word God level because then now we're back to God's up there, we're down here. But what happens at the macro is also available at the micro. So if we look at intelligence, universal intelligence, there's an intelligence of mind, right? So there's a universal mind. It's creating out of itself constantly, not diminishing itself. How it does it, we'll never know. But there's universal mind, and we and experience and use that mind through our own localized experience of life. It often comes to us in intuition or guidance, or if you've taken a class or ever had a situation or a challenge that you thought you couldn't handle, and suddenly you had that aha moment. Where did that aha moment come from? It's like we didn't think the aha moment into happening, right? It's just like it just suddenly is there. Well, the pathway, if you will, even though there's no separation, it's just we become more aware of that universal mind that always has a solution. So that's one aspect of this disruption of the common belief about how life works. It's really the idea that there's much more. Another way that the macro-micro works is silence. Have you ever heard a tree grow? What sound does it make? Come on, work with me here. Well, I just got a new puppy. I mean, she makes a lot of noise, but I haven't identified any of those noises as growing noises. So nature, life grows in silence, much of it in silence. And yet, are we using that silence, that tool, if you will, or that aspect of life as much as we could? Because when we go into the silence, it really does allow for healing and growth and ultimately a return to our inherent wholeness. Because we must be whole and complete. If we're simply expressions of life, and life itself is whole and complete and then some, again, it's creating out of itself and not becoming this tiny little thing because I've used up all my stuff, all my energy's gone. So the silence is also one of these macro-micro aspects. There's great power in the silence. And through mind in the silence, it kind of leads into this third aspect that I want to touch on briefly, which is this idea of expansion. Science tells us the universe is constantly expanding. And again, life is creating out of itself. It's creating new species and new forms of life constantly. So there's this inherent expansion within life, and we can experience and have that expansion as part of our experience. We can continue to expand. We don't need to stop and say, well, you know, I learned a little bit at church on Sunday. I'm good for the rest of my life. Or, you know, I got my practitioner or minister badge, and so, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to learn anymore. There's always the opportunity to find a way to go deeper, to experience more love, a deeper compassion, a deeper sense of oneness in any community, whether it's spiritual community or families, which can be challenging these days with a lot of division going on in this country, but there's still a way to show up as the presence. There's a way to continue to expand our understanding of truth. And I don't believe any greater use of that idea of expansion than love. Now, in the macro level, and we have the poets such as Rumi or Hafiz and others, there's music that speaks of this divine love of God, some say. But this divine love that is present. So if it's present at the macro level, in and through and as everything, if everything has to be infused, right, with this love, including ourselves, how does it show up in the micro? Well, it can be challenging because we have this thing known as the human heart, which can be lovely. Amazing joy, amazing sense of connection, uplifting. But often our sense of the human heart can also be that it gets closed down and gets shut off. But the truth is that behind that sense, and I'm not talking about the physical organ, but behind that sense of the heart, the human heart, deeper is the spiritual heart, the heart of oneness, the heart that's always present and always there. And sometimes it can be hard, depending on circumstance, to be aware of that. Just like when we're out in the world and it's noisy and there's a lot going on, it can be hard to be aware of the silence or have a sense of the universal intelligence or a sense of going deeper, expanding our spiritual awareness, our understanding of truth. But that spiritual heart is there. And what I have found, and I see in the world, is that to the degree that someone is living more from that human heart experience that can be open and closed, love and hate, the duality of life versus more the spiritual heart, is really tied to their consciousness. So if I'm somebody who believes that life happens to me, that I have no power, very little power, I'm going to probably have thoughts that I'm unlovable, that I don't know how to be in a healthy relationship. They never work out for me. That love just is a challenge. I think it was a 10 cc, love hurts. Anyway, I don't know why that popped in, but you know, the occasional musical reference that has no meaning, you know, you got to go with it every now and then. But if I'm in that victim, powerless consciousness, it's hard to believe that even my understanding of myself, that I can be loved, let alone that there's this universal love that's always not only available, but ultimately what we are. But as I move out of that consciousness, maybe into a more directive consciousness, knowing that there's, for example, a law that I can use, there's treatment. I can begin to choose love, choose joy, choose to be kind. Choose to take action in the world where love and kindness becomes more important than protecting my heart. But I'm coming from maybe a little bit deeper place. And over time, if I tend to be more loving and be more kind, and that has value, there's a shift that starts to happen where we really start to sense that there's something working through us. We start to sense a love that's deeper, that divine love moving through us. And then ultimately, we can have moments, or if the veil of separation fully falls away, a way of being, where we're just showing up as love. We're not being loving. It's not an act or an action we're taking. We're just showing up and radiating the presence, the love, the truth that we are, the life that we are. And that's how we can begin to affect change in the world. Begin to help life reveal that there is the idea and the reality that can come forward of a life that works for all. But we don't need to be divisive. You know, it's said that we have a lot more in common than we have apart, and these days it's really hard for a lot of folks to believe that. But deep within, there is that love, even if folks aren't aware of it. And as we show up as the love, as the presence, as the light, with no agenda other than just to be love, we become the disruptors. We become the way showers of how there can be a different way in life. It's not just about feeling good, making a couple changes. It's a much deeper walk as spirit, not with God, as spirit. Even if we have experiences that might feel like God is out here and we're here, if the commitment, the intention is to be love in the world, then that deeper walk will naturally come about. And so the invitation this week is for us to look at our own lives. Where can we show up more as that loving presence? Where can we just be love in the world? Where can we ascend to a higher idea and a deeper knowing about love itself and be the disruptors of the mental equivalent that most of the world has of limitation, where we know there's possibility. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, and I'm going to do a little process here before we move into prayer. So if you're comfortable doing so, I invite you to close your eyes and just connect with your heart space, just noticing your heart. And there's nothing you have to change. We're just noticing. We're just noticing the heart space. And it may feel open or closed. It could feel joyful. Just whatever's there, just noticing it, just being aware of it. And now just maybe going a little deeper, seeing if you can sense the spiritual heart, or that divine love. It's always there, but sometimes it's a little hidden. Maybe it's behind the heart or below the human heart. Just seeing if you can maybe touch on that. And if not, just know it's there. And I invite you to bring to mind, or have your inner guidance show you someone who could be reminded right now that they are love. Someone who may have forgotten their way. Whether you know them personally or through an acquaintance, or maybe just somebody on the world stage, just somebody who has forgotten this deep love is who they are. And just, even though there's one life, we're really not sending it anywhere, have the sense that you're sending love, that you're sharing your truth, your love with this individual. And just notice that you're not diminished in any way. That by sharing love or being love does not diminish you in any way. So just anchoring in this sense of love, and I'm going to move into prayer. So from this awareness of love, I know that this one life, this one power, this force, whether we choose to call it God, life, universe, spirit, it is the one life that creates constantly, that it's the source of all, that it is all. As there is this one life, it must be true that each and every one here this morning, those that may watch later on the recording, that are within the sound of my voice at any point, must be this life. That life is expressing itself as each of us. That regardless of thought or feeling or emotional challenge, there is no way we could ever be disconnected from it, for we are it. All the words that we use to describe life, love, power, presence, joy, infinite intelligence, is who and what we are. And I speak a truth right now on behalf of each of us. I know as we go forward in our daily lives, hour by hour, day by day, that we are that presence of love. We are that disruptor who is a way shower, showing a different way to the world of living in harmony, in peace, as love. And from this place of knowing this, it's natural to fall into gratitude, into a place of deep thanks. So I say this morning, I am grateful for that law that makes it so, that takes the impress of our thoughts and simply says, yes, yes, yes. I'm grateful for the divine heart that's always present in and through and as everyone and everything. So I simply release this treatment now into that law. There's nothing that I have said that has changed anything about life. We're simply recognizing the truth that is always present. And I invite you to anchor in this truth with me by simply saying, and so it is.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
I am the place.
I am the place where God
And
lives,
you are the
moves and breathes
place.
and has
We
its being.
all are the
I am the
place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
So before we start our gracious giving, can we all graciously thank Reverend James Peck for being here this morning and putting us into that place of remembering the truth within each one of us. We can tap in, tune in, and be in. So, what a beautiful Sunday. And now is the time for us to circulate the abundance in our life as we circulate throughout this community, knowing that we are all deeply and richly blessed. And I ask you to affirm with me. I joyfully celebrate the flow of God through me. I am grateful for receiving and giving to my spiritual community. I give thanks, always knowing God is my source, and so it is.
As we await to face the day, just thought I'd take the time to say I'm glad to be alive, beating right in time with you. You and I are nothing new, just two old souls that will fade into the everlasting grace. But before we fade, we've got a lot to do. 'Cause can't you see, this world is chaos in color. It's wild and strange, but it's beautiful too. If the weight of it ever tries to pull you under, know this much is true. We were made to carry each other, and I'm here to carry you. Ooh. Ooh. wants to break the dark and heavy chains of the night that tried to hold you. And I have dreams I have to chase. We've got lives to lead, no time to waste, and there's no need to wait. Now we know that's what love has brought us here to be. Cause can't you see, this world is chaos in color. It's wild and strange, oh, but it's wonderful too. If the weight of it ever tries to pull you under, know this much is true. We were made to carry each other, and I'm here to carry you. Oh, I was made to carry you. One day you're gonna carry me too. Oh, I was made to carry you. One day you're gonna carry me too. Oh, yeah. This world is chaos in color. It's wild and strange, oh, but it's beautiful too. If the weight of it ever tries to pull you under, know this much is true. We were made to carry each other. We were made to carry each other. And I'm here to carry you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks to the CSL band, Susan, and her beautiful voice, and all the harmony and beautiful sounds that come from there. As Deborah would say, it's a prayer in motion. So, I would like to take a moment here to talk about our practitioners. There's pictures of them right up there for those who don't know who all we are, and we are available for prayer. That's what we love to do. Because just remember that your prayer is my prayer too. So anytime I have a prayer for you, it's something that my heart needs to know too. So please come fill my heart up after a service today. 3 ways to do prayer. One of them, we have a prayer room down the hall here, and it's nice and quiet and private, and it's open after service. You can go online and fill out a prayer request, or there's a box at the back. You can fill that out, and a practitioner will pray all week long as well. So please make us happy and joyful by bringing joy into our lives for praying with you. Bobby?
And now it's time for our gracious giving, where we give $100 back to a charity that somebody put in the basket. And I'm going to have Dr. Peak pick one and read it.
Do you want me to read it? Well, okay. I'll give you that. Okay. Food Trucks Against Homelessness is the charity we're giving to this week. They're on West Colorado Avenue. And, well, it gives us a website, but I guess we don't need that. What does this organization do? Food Trucks Against Homelessness partners with businesses and individuals to provide meals, resources, and human connection to our homeless community. Our vision is that no one goes hungry and each person has the opportunity to become self-sufficient. We have chosen to partner with Westside Cares in this endeavor, and we also collect coats, hats, gloves, blankets, etc. to hand out, and this was given to us by Jan Babb. So they're going to get $100. Okay. Did the kids come back in now or not? No. Okay, so we're going to close with the peace song, as we always do.
So please stand, put your hand over your heart, or take the hand of the person next to you, and let's sing the peace song.